Just Don't Let Me Go by ezrasagethejellyfish. James Potter, if I turn around and see you behind me, I swear on every single freaking thing in the world that I will hex you, Regulus said, growing annoyed. The stupid man had been following him since breakfast and would not leave him alone. His patience now was paper thin. But Reg, I thought you liked it when I followed you around, James said from behind him, the urge to stomp his shoe on James's foot. What gave you that impression, Potter? And don't call me Reg, he said as coldly as possible. Again with Potter, I don't see why you won't just call me James. It's such an easy name. It takes like no effort. Well, Potter takes minimal effort too, so shush, Potter. James laughed. Oh my god, you did not just tell me to shush, Reg. You're so cute, he said, still laughing. Regulus turned around and pointed his wand up at James's throat, glaring at him. James stopped walking and just stared at him. There was something curious in his eyes, something enticing, something that made Regulus want to move his face closer to his. But James interrupted his thoughts before they became too incriminating. Go on, love. What are you waiting for? This man. Regulus put his wand down and walked away, just before saying another comment. Don't call me love, Potter. The next day, James did not abide his many warnings to piss off, and he proceeded to follow him around the bloody castle over and over again. He was honestly starting to get used to looking over his shoulder to glance at the golden-haired boy when he wasn't paying attention, which normally would be more often than not. But when he was Regulus, he seemed thoroughly captivated by annoying him. He had no idea what he'd done to gravitate towards the pull of James Potter, but each day he found James closer to him, and he never found the one to step away. He'd always just watched from afar, how James only took milk in his tea, how he refused to have anything other than butter on his toast, and how, out of his friends, he was always the first to arrive. Usually, he never stared back, probably not even noticing forgettable Regulus, but today he found himself being watched by the golden boy of Hogwarts. Regulus had no idea, again, why he was in this man's belittling attention span, but every time he looked back, those same eyes from the other day followed him, eyes still filled with the same curiosity and amusement. Barty and Evan found him easily enough. Barty filled with his almost terrifying morning energy, and Evan, who looked like death. Morning, Buttercup. Don't you look like a ray of sunshine? Regulus grimaced at the greeting. Unlike James's nicknames, Barty's were actually worthy of his annoyance. Well, you're lucky that Buttercup saved us bloody seats, Merlin. Why is this place so fucking crowded? Dorcas said, taking the seat across Regulus, blocking his view of James. Dorcas seemed to sense his annoyance. She was good at that. Barty and Evan sat on either side of him. Sorry to block your view of Mr. Attention. Still don't know why the hell you're in love with him. Regulus stabbed his fork right into the waffle Evan had just gotten. I am not in love with him. She stared at him like she could see right through him, which she couldn't because there was nothing there. Jesus, Regulus, leave the waffle, Barty teased. Maybe you really are in love with him. In love with who? Pandora asked, as she sat next to Dorcas, looking a little flushed in her cheeks. No one, Panda. They just think I am. Is it James? She said, taking a cup of tea from the middle of the table. Why do you all think that I like him? Evan rolled his eyes. Well, you don't like him, you love him, and for the record, you really stare at him at every single damn mealtime. And whenever somebody says his name, you act like they've just insulted your ancestors. Regulus is pretty sure him being in love with a fucking blood traitor is enough to insult his ancestors. Well, I think you're all delusional. At least we're not delusional enough to be helplessly in love with James Potter, Pandora returned. For all her sweetness, there was a reason she was in Slytherin. Well, there he is in all his glory, Dorcas stated, moving over so he could see James, who was standing over Peter and Regulus's brother. He couldn't hear him over the noise of the great hall, but he seemed to be joking and laughing with his mates. Merlin, he was gorgeous when he smiled. Regulus is drooling, Barty joked. Regulus jabbed him at the sides. And he stared. He noticed a girl with bright red hair. He briefly registered as Lily, capturing James's attention. He started up a conversation with her, but she ignored him. She seemed thoroughly annoyed that James was talking to her. His smile was highly evident as he whispered something in his ear. She quickly turned around and whacked him in the face with her book bag. She turned right back around and continued her conversation with her friends, almost as if it was routine. Damn, Black, your boyfriend just had his ass handed to him. Hope they didn't hurt too much, Barty remarked. But Regulus didn't care about how hard she'd hit him. Well, he did, but that wasn't his main concern. His main concern was that James's little failed attempts at conversation with Lily seemed an awful like their conversation. Was James just playing with him? The little brother of his best friend? That be a good one to mess with? It wasn't like Regulus would ever say anything. He'd had enough of the Great Hall, to be honest. He got up and left fast enough to drown on his friend's complaints. What Regulus didn't expect was, when he waltzed out of the Great Hall, was James once again following him. You do realize stomping out of the Great Hall is Sirius's thing, right? He remarked, hands in his pockets. Not here, Regulus said, either out loud or in his mind. He grabbed his sleeve and dragged him to the nearest bathroom. He was sure it was empty. James stumbled in after him, clearly a little distraught that a 5'7" just dragged him into some dingy bathroom. I mean, Reg, this is a little forward, but whatever you want, love. No, I did not bring you in here to fucking make out with you. I'm mad at you. James's expression turned a little sad. Why are you mad at me, Reg? I saw you with her. I saw how you looked like you wanted her. James looked immediately relieved and started laughing. This goddamn man started laughing. James, this is not funny, Regulus snapped. James is literally wheezing now. Yes, it is. It very much is, love. How? Because she's taken, and I was joking with her about her girlfriend, Pandora. So that's what the flush was about. That's all? He said in disbelief. Yes? Did you think it was something else? He had stopped laughing and looked concerned now that Regulus hadn't believed in his loyalty. No. Love, I don't want anyone else but you. Not even for a second. He leaned over him so much, Regulus had to back up, just for his back to hit the door. God, he had that look in his eyes that made Regulus want to kiss him until he suffocated. Just a little bit. Instead, he stood on his toes and pressed a quick kiss on James's cheek before regaining his composure and turning the door handle. That better be right, James. And don't fucking call me love. Oh, you were so stupid. Thanks for listening.